Like we always do about this time.
I don't know.
Like, what up, Dore? What's up? How's everybody doing today?
How y'all feel out there?
How y'all feel out there? There's them bold in the dog. There's them bold in the dog. Did you see them point them out? Well, because I'm don't worry about me, man. The strand is good today. All right, relax. Anyway, thank you, everybody, tuning in to another episode of I Often Wonder. Why are you looking like that?
I'm trying to fix my stomach. Go ahead.
Oh.
What you doing? Do what you doing?
What, did a ghost tap you or something? Did they touch your pockets? You must have owed a ghost some money or something. They tapped you. You had to look around or something.
I don't know what's going on,
You can't
man.
be doing this looking around. I was ready to jet, bro.
Don't worry about it.
I'm
good.
just saying.
You good.
You good?
I'm good.
All right. Thank you, everybody, tuning in to another episode of I Often Wonder. It's your boy Wildcard in the building. Of course, on my left, the man with the grand master plan for the IOW network, Detroit Mail.
What up, though?
You doing all right there,
I'm
bro?
doing good, man. How you doing?
Man, you know what? Since we having this mental health series, I'm in a good mental space. I can't even lie.
Oh, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Good thing.
How's your mental space, brother?
Jacked up as usual.
Oh, yeah. I mean, knowing you,
it's all our stuff going on up there.
There's a lot of reasons why you jacked up.
Start rolling around.
We ain't got enough time in the show to run down the whole list on what's wrong with Detroit, man.
It's a good day. It's a good day. I went out here and made a little money, so I can't complain about that. Got a haircut.
Whew, how that gas is, man. I might have to make some career changes. I might have to shake a little something. I might have to get back in shape just to shake a little something.
Hey, I'm gonna buy me a siphon hose.
Just to afford some gas, man.
Buy me a siphon hose.
Is ridiculous.
I told you what it's about.
No, my old lady might get mad at me. She gonna find me on the corner and shaking ass for gas.
Shake it fast. Watch yourself.
Ow.
Shake it. Show me what you working with.
Ooh, wow. No.
How y'all sign up? We'll shake for gas.
Shake ass for gas. No, I'm not that desperate. But no. Like this gas prices are getting out of control.
Yes, they are.
But no, I'm glad you're in a good mental space.
Oh yeah.
I'm in a good mental space. And just so we continue this mental health series we got here, we have a great panel today.
Yes, we do.
I mean, we got three wonderful, educated, strong women that's going to help us have this conversation.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
2 out of 3. Well, I'll let you point out which one is the missing link. I'll let you decipher that. But no, do us the honor, big homie. Introduce our guest that we have today on this wonderful panel.
On the top right, we have Miss Jennifer. I met her through my sister, who is on the bottom right, Miss Tiffany Gotcher.
Yeah, we familiar with Tiff.
Everybody know Tiffany. She's been on the show before. And
yeah,
yes,
really, Tiff? You've been on the show too many times, matter of fact.
Sorry.
And then,
matter of fact, you've been on the show so much people thought you was a co-host.
Right.
what?
Taking Lex's place.
Yeah.
And then another person who's no stranger to the show.
Yeah, matter of fact, I was about to say, Allison's been on the show so much. She's been our Canadian co-host.
Right.
Our neighbor to the north, Miss Allison Dore.
I'm the official Canadian correspondent.
I like that. Like that one. But we're gonna let them all introduce themselves a little formally and tell them what they do and all that thing. We're gonna start with Allison, then go around to Jennifer, then Tiffany. Okay, Allison.
Okay, so I host an entertainment talk show on SiriusXM, channel 167, 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern time. Please tune in. And I also run a comedy record label, which none of that sounds like it has much to do with mental health. Don't want to brag. I've been in therapy for 20 plus years, which basically makes me a therapist. I've dealt with substance abuse, and I had a nervous breakdown when I was 23. And so I've had a long journey with mental health, and I love talking about it.
That's why we have her on.
Mm-hmm.
And Jennifer.
Hi there. My name's Jennifer Rotermund. I live in Port Townsend, Washington. I am a entheogenic integration coach and an addiction recovery coach, and now certified cannabis health and wellness coach. I have also, like Allison, had my own journey with mental health. I'm in long-term recovery from anxiety and depression and dissociation from my body dysmorphia, things like that. And so, just really happy to be in a better space. I think mental health is an ongoing process. I don't think there's like an arrival point.
Right.
So, just really happy to be in a space where I'm now also supporting others on that path.
Nice.
Good.
Good job on that. Good job on that, Jim.
I don't have the applaud button.
Yeah. We like positive. We like positive mental spaces around here.
And then Miss Tiffany.
I'm Tiffany Gotcher. Unfortunately, I am Detroit Mill's sister, but I have gotten rid of him, and Allison is my sister. So here we go. I am an integrative health and nutrition cannabis professional. And that's a lot to say, but what I do is just help. I help women who have fibromyalgia like myself, help them be able to cope with it using natural herbs. And one of the herbs is cannabis that we all love.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I'm trying to erase the stigma of using cannabis.
Thank you.
Because
That's the reason I wanted to bring you on here.
Like, it took me a long time. And why I'm here today is that because I won't say because I have fibromyalgia, but one of the symptoms with fibromyalgia is dealing with depression and anxiety. Mm-hmm. I am in therapy. Mm-hmm. I hope not 20 years, but I'm going on 3 years, and I'm still trying to unpack some things.
The longer you're in it, the more fun it gets, though.
Okay.
It honestly does. Like, you just start going, yeah, now look at this thing. What's going on over here? It just is fun.
Right. So
that amount of therapy I can't afford. So
we got my job, my job, we got therapists on site.
That come with it.
I come with the job.
Yeah. My therapy is THC.
Well, that's one of my therapy, but I would say I use THC. I use more CBD, which helps with the anxiety. So you want to use more CBD than you do THC, but I use both every day. I use a tincture that I make.
Oh, look at that!
Show and tell.
Look at that!
Yeah, I'm.
As you can tell,
Tiff got professional with her THC.
Label on there.
See, I'm used to like going meeting in the alley with a young buck, and I'm looking across my shoulder waiting for the police.
Like something different.
No,
That's totally different.
No, sir.
With a young boy.
You know what I'm saying? You got to be discreet with it. Discreet with it. I'm just saying I'm just saying we in Carolina still, so we ain't.
You gotta tell nobody where we at. We could have been in California.
It don't matter. They look. We haven't legalized
the views and expressions of Lamar.
I have nothing to do with that.
But Lamar, that's why you have to come to Canada. We just have stores in Toronto.
Same in Washington.
Yeah, there's literally a store on every block.
It's like Starbucks.
Yeah, it truly is.
Because you guys because your governing body is smart and realize how much money you can make off it, and that's one half of the conversation. I mean, the other half is a medical advances and benefits from it, but that's what we're here to talk about. Yeah, we're here to talk about the benefits.
I'm a medical patient too, as well.
Well, I consider myself a medical patient because I got to deal with life. So,
Listen, I don't know about you, but I have a card, so I'm very good.
So one of the reasons why I was talking to Lamar about doing this series is that, you know, you hear a lot of people, especially athletes and a lot of entertainers coming out about their mental health and trying to do better. So one of them was anxiety and stress, and one of them was Naomi Osaka. So I'm gonna play a video with her.
Osaka. I feel like I've cried enough on camera, but
The 4-time major champion and former world #1 tennis player in tears.
I just wanted to say thank you and congratulations.
Naomi Osaka taking the mic after her second-round loss to Veronika Kutermotova at the Indian Wells Masters. The 24-year-old requesting to address the crowd after being heckled by a spectator in the stands. Right there, listen again. A visibly upset Osaka asking the chair umpire to have the heckler removed, but the umpire rejecting her request.
And I don't know why, but like it went into my head and it got replayed a lot.
Osaka saying the setting reminded her of Serena Williams playing there in 2001. The crowd booing as Richard and Venus Williams watched her play. An incident the family calls traumatic and believes was racist. Both players boycotting the tournament for more than a decade.
I'm trying not to cry.
The 24-year-old, who's been open about her mental health struggles with anxiety and, quote, long bouts of depression, even stepping back from the spotlight, withdrawing from last year's French Open after opting not to do media interviews against tournament rules.
I honestly don't know when I'm going to play my next tennis match.
So that was Naomi Osaka, and discuss, you know, and you see how she is very open about her mental health.
You can see it on her face.
And the one thing that always got to me is the reaction that she got from people. You know, some people was telling her, "Oh, you need to toughen up, and you know, you in the spotlight. You're supposed to be able to take that and not doing an interview." And so I posed the question: is mental health one of those things that society still put a great stigma on and say that mental health should look like this and that's it? Or, you know, or mental health, if you're not within the guidelines of that of particular people, then you quote unquote are crazy, even though it's not a clinical term, but that's the term most people use. So that's the thing that I thought of when I saw Naomi Osaka. So what do you guys think?
I agree. I mean, I think that for her being in the sports world, you think, oh, they're supposed to be tough. They're supposed to not listen to what the fans do, just go out and play and be tough. But it's hard when you already dealing with your own self-image, her being young, you already trying to figure out the world, and then you have all these other people, mostly adults, go home. You're no good. That's with anyone's psyche. And like I said, I deal with the same thing with depression and anxiety. And people always tell me, oh, you're okay. Well, no, I'm not. I just smile it through. But you don't know those days when I'm driving and I would just have an anxiety attack because the car drove just close to me. Or it would just come along. And I learned how to deal with it so I don't have to tell anybody about it. But then I had to get to a point where, okay, this is getting out of hand. You need to find help. So for me, I think that we just need to be kinder to people. Because my mental health might not look like Allison's mental health or Jennifer's mental health. Yeah. That doesn't mean that I don't have it. That just means that it's just different.
Yeah.
Right.
How do you feel, Jen?
Did you
Jennifer? Yeah, Jennifer.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
He's just short. You know, we're friends here now. So we
yeah. Well, once we pass the intro, you family. So we, you know, it goes from Jennifer to Jen. Jenny on the block. Go ahead. How you feel about it, sister?
Thank you. Yeah, I would say not only is mental health stigmatized, but then also we all have so much trauma, not only our own life, but ancestral trauma, cultural trauma. And with that stigma, we just so many of us don't even know that we're carrying trauma and wounds with us. So in that video, you know, not only are the athletes traumatized and coming from, you know, and dealing with their own trauma, but that those hecklers, all I see are their wounds too. And
Right.
learn to express themselves outwardly to other people, like project their trauma onto other people rather than dealing with it in their own bodies.
So, hurt people.
Here's the trauma.
Right. Allison.
Yeah, I think also we've become a society, or I mean, maybe we've always been this society that loves to build people like athletes and celebrities up, but also loves to tear them down, right? And that's also that cycle of I'm a broken person. So when someone who seems like they're better than me is coming down, I'm gonna hop on that to make myself feel better. Yeah. And then on top of that, mental health, yes, it's hugely stigmatized. People who have never experienced depression often cannot empathize and don't know what it feels like. And then on top of that, she's a woman in sports. That comes with its own level of stress. And we all know that the women have to prove themselves 10 times more than the men do. And she's a woman of color in sports. And so she's being scrutinized on a level that is insane. And for her to say, I'm going to take a step back, is such a monumentally brave thing to do when she's got a whole team of people that make money off her and that everyone is really invested in her doing what she does because everybody's making money off it. And so for her to stand up and go, I'm not okay, and I need to step back, to me was huge. And the amount that people tore her down over that was hugely disheartening because it's not, I think the expectation we have for athletes, especially at an elite level, also because they're making money, we're like, you should be grateful. You should be grateful for where you are. You should be grateful you make this business. Oh, you play a game for money and you're rich. And it's like, yeah, and you can still struggle. And being in the public eye, like today with social media, it's a literal nightmare.
Right.
So she's incredibly strong. Yeah.
Yes.
She's an incredibly strong person for being able to just say, I hate doing interviews. It stresses me out. Everyone's mean to me and I'm having a hard enough time. Bye.
Yeah.
Right.
Good for her.
Yeah. I felt the same. I applauded her when she said that. I felt like I could take a deeper breath, you know?
Yeah.
Thank you for modeling that for all of us.
Right.
Yeah, because I think we had mentioned that on our sports podcast about her taking the time out to, get your mental right. And and it's funny that you mentioned that, Allison, is because when we look at these people on these broad, grand platforms, and you're like, almost like the circus animals, you're poking and prodding at them.
Right.
Yes.
But eventually what was it? The show in Vegas, the Tiger and the Biting the guys.
Siegfried and Roy.
Siegfried and Roy. Eventually, the wild animal, as much as you want to try to tame it and keep it,
become a wild animal.
Yeah, eventually the wild animal comes out and he's like, nah,
the primitive side come out.
Got his butt, got his ass.
Right. Go ahead,
other thing I just realized too is to be that level of championship athlete, it's as much as a mental game as it is a physical game.
Right.
And so you want her to keep winning, you want to keep making that money, you want to keep having that entertainment, you got to get your head right. Because
that's right.
That's if you read coaching books and stuff like that, the championship mentality is a huge part of success in athletics.
Yeah.
Right.
And it comes with a lot of sacrifices and a lot of comes with a lot of things that I don't want to say alienating yourself or isolating yourself, but in a sense you minimize a lot of things around you.
Yes.
That you pretty much keep only a few things in your eyesight, in your tunnel vision. And so there's things that's going to be left to the side that can possibly, definitely damage your mental.
Right.
Yeah. Right. And
I agree.
Too, just like Allison pointed out, you have all these people that's on your team. So then you feel responsible for that. or if I lose, then
Gotta
we lose
feed the
those
fam.
endorsements. So
Right,
right.
right.
Everybody has to eat.
Mhm.
So that
Everybody eating
weighs
off you.
a big mental thing on you. So I think it's
But-
just a lot for them.
So we talked about famous people. Here's another famous person that talked about their mental health also.
So I am always talking about authenticity and honesty and being real. And so I decided to do another little video and really just drop it in the shit because I am having a bad mental health day. I don't know why. I mean, there are reasons that probably lead up to it. You know, I've had a very busy few weeks. I just launched a record label. I'm a brand new entrepreneur. I still have my radio jobs and I do my podcast. And so I have been really busy. I have sleep issues. I have blah, blah, blah. And so it's been a bit of a rough day. And I think part of the thing is when you struggle with mental health, on a day like today, there's this part of me that wants to know why. Let's dig into why. Why am I not feeling good? And that is important. And I think especially in the beginning to look at the things that have come together. But I think also the important thing is, does it matter why? Because right now I'm in it and that's okay. And I'm going to be okay. I'm going to take today. I'm really going to chill out and cry when I need to cry and, you know, read and watch a movie that I've seen 800 times another time because it makes me feel good. And so I think I don't want to ever put up the front when I talk about the work that I've done and how I've started managing my mental health and my emotions so much better. I don't want people to think that that means that I'm fine all the time because no one's fine all the time.
And that was Miss Allison Dore.
Hey,
You didn't know.
You know, sometimes those famous
Like, she
people
looks
gotta let it
familiar.
out, man.
Who is that?
Sometimes those
Every
famous people gotta let it out, man.
Every time I'm on the show, you guys dig up something where I go, "Oh God, I forgot I did that."
He got tricks up his sleeve, Allison.
Right.
You got it.
Yeah, I see it. I see it. I should deactivate my YouTube channel.
I download all the videos too late now.
There's not a lot up there. Yeah, that was a bad day, and I feel like we're bad at we're good at talking about the bad times afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like I mean, at least I am, and I was very, very lost in that moment and trying to like pull myself out of it. But what's interesting, I had a lot of positive feedback from it, but there's a couple of negative reactions. And that's always interesting to me as well. And I think it's people who sort of aren't ready
To face it.
when you work on yourself, that's threatening to some people.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if you're saying, I'm going to look at the things in my life that are ugly and I'm going to try to do something, people who are sort of invested in or, not willing to admit to themselves that they have areas that need to be looked at will often react very badly.
Right.
And so it's an interesting thing for anybody who feels like there's an area of their life, especially when it comes to mentally or how you're approaching your life that you want to work on. Just know there will be people who are negative about it and that it's not about you. Right. For them, it's not about you. And like, even when I went to rehab, there was some people in my life that actively tried to talk me out of it. And it's like, because they're sitting in their addiction and they're not ready to face it. And so if I face it, that's somehow a threat to them. Right. And you just have to know what's right for you and follow in that and be willing to fight for yourself. And more people will be positive than negative for the most part. And the people that are negative about it, they're stuck and afraid to try and change. And you just have to sort of have compassion for that for them, but also walk away.
Right. That's the key right there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, being able to detach yourself from people that are not good for you.
Yes.
And I think a lot of times that's hard for a lot of us.
So hard.
You know, because if you're in something and that same person in that with you, and you start looking within and saying, okay, I don't want this anymore. But that person steady pulling, tugging on you, it's hard to detach from that because it became a part of your life. It's a habit. It's what you're used to. It's something that when you're trying to change, that's something you're not used to. And it's hard to get into that thing that you're not used to because it's the unknown.
Yeah, scary.
The unknown is always scary. So even some of the things I dealt with and are dealing with, it's hard for me to kind of pull away from it because it's comfortable.
Yes. Comfortable is such a big part of it. And
oh my gosh, the comfort zone is a death of you, bro.
It is.
I think also, it's so interesting. I think people often think like, well, who am I? Who am I to think I could be better? Who am I to, and it's like, well, who aren't you though? I mean, you can really do whatever you want. And the trick is sort of meeting people where they're at, which is much harder than it sounds. And so it's like those people around you that want to pull you back into the comfort zone or, you know, have that kind of safety of familiarity. Hey, maybe you don't have to pull away from them forever, but it's understanding that like right now we're on different paths. So we got to kind of separate for a bit and hopefully that comes back together. But if it doesn't, like,
you know what it is.
Yeah, life is like that sometimes. Right?
Right.
Yeah. And I think for people, especially people of color in our culture, we're not going.
Some of us have more color than others.
You know what? We're gonna just move over on that one, but we're just talking.
Okay, Will.
We hear some people that say, "Oh, you weak. You're weak because I've heard all of it."
Yeah,
I've had doctors tell me I needed to go to therapy since my early 20s, and I've just
hey Tiff, speak on that because that's part of the stigma in our culture. You know, therapy. What you do? Therapy. What you doing in therapy?
Right.
Really?
That's rich people shit. Right. What are you doing in therapy?
Didn't I whoop you enough?
Didn't I whoop your ass enough? You know what I'm saying? But like, you didn't know that the mass whoopers was actually giving me trauma at the same time. It gave me discipline, but it gave me trauma.
Some more, but go ahead, Tim. We're going to go into that some more too.
Yeah, but no, dig into it, Tiff, because like I think you need, especially from you as doing therapy and continuing therapy, like speak on it, you know, getting that help, but also telling the people in our community, like, yo, man, chill out with that stigma, like get rid of it.
Well, I know for me, like I said, I was told in my early 20s by several doctors that I needed to go to therapy. I think you should go. And I'm thinking, no, I don't need therapy. Something wrong with me. Because in my mind, I'm thinking a person who needs therapy is a person who's blowing up, who's what we call quote unquote crazy. And a little bit that's going on with me is okay. I'm fine. I'm functioning. I'm going to work. I'm taking care of my kid. I'm doing all this. So I should be okay. And then I had this really, really bout of right after I had my third son, my last child, had a really bad part of last.
No, see, I think Tiff dumb, bro. I think Tiff dumb.
That I had a really bad bout of postpartum depression. Nobody knew. I hid it. And I cried every day for a whole year. Nobody knew. When I felt like I was going to cry, I would just go upstairs to the bathroom and run water or I'd take a shower. And I think my brother knew because that's what he would call me every single day. And I'm like, is he giving me a 24-hour suicide? Like, what is going on? Why are you calling so much? But going back, the doctor, I just finally got to a point where I said, I'm tired of being like this. I'm tired of crying every day. And so I eventually got the help. And it still took me a long time to even be open. And so now my therapist, I had therapy yesterday, she told me, I ask these questions and you just go too deep. Just hold on. Like, give me a minute.
Right.
you know, as far as like friends and family, I've told them before, like, I think I need to go. Like, I'm crying every day. This is not normal. And it's like, oh, you weak. I had some people say, you weak. You weak if you go to therapy. I had some people say, just pray on it. Or why you need to go. Like Lamar said, why you need to go? You rich and da-da-da-da. You hear all these crazy questions. It's like, no, I want to get better.
Right.
Just because I'm smiling, have you looked at my eyes? It's nothing behind them.
Mm-hmm.
It's time for me to heal. I'm ready to heal so I can move on better. And then you have children. I want my kids to see how broken I am or have to deal with that. So I think it is very important. I tell everybody, go to therapy and use your cannabis.
We're gonna get on the cannabis in a minute. Jennifer?
Yeah, Miss Jen, how do you feel about the benefits of therapy?
Oh, I've received a lot of benefits from therapy, but I also grew up with some similar stigmas in my family and community. And therapy, my experience of therapy when I was growing up was like, when something gets really bad and like you're immobilized from depression or something like that, then you go for a bit, you get fixed, then you're done, then you go back to life. So it was sort of like that. It wasn't really spoken. And then if you needed therapy, it was like, oh, something must be really bad. And then later on, years later, as an adult, I had a spiritual teacher in my life tell me, like, equate therapy to like, going to the doctor, like any other, like anything else. Like if you broke your arm, you wouldn't just be like, oh, well, no, I'm fine. I'll just go. It's fine. You would go, you would go to the hospital, or if you needed a massage or a chiropractic adjustment or something like that, you'd go seek that out. And therapy is like regular therapy, if possible, is really helpful and really useful. And, even stigmatized in our health insurance. Like I have a very basic Washington State health insurance plan that happened to cover it, but we kind of had to dig and call and look. And it wasn't like right up front, like here's your copay, go to the therapist. It was like hidden in the back, so,
That's interesting.
We should all move to Canada.
That's it.
It's not covered in Canada.
It's
not?
No.
Oh.
No, it's not covered in Canada. So I do pay for mental health stuff. Is not great. And in some cases, depending on what your situation and how bad it is, there is some coverage. But I have to pay my therapist out of pocket. And then some people do have like extra insurance through work and stuff like that might cover some of it, but not everybody. So we're not that farther ahead on mental health stuff. But I just wanted to say something really quick to what Tiffany was saying about people thinking it makes you weak. And if you look at it this way, okay, if you're a general and you're leading troops into battle, part of your job is to strategize and look at where are weak spots, where do we need to fortify, where do we need to build it up so we're strong enough for the fight? And that's what you're doing in therapy. You're going, okay, there's some areas where I'm struggling. I'm strong enough to admit I'm struggling. And I'm going to go in and get help. And also, there is this idea of like, you have to wait for something major to go. And I think, and this will come once everybody starts making it more accessible, because governments are stupid not to. But if it was more accessible, nobody's perfect. We all have areas in our life where it's like, I could communicate better in this area, or this is upsetting me more than is perhaps helpful and whatever. And like everyone can benefit from it, no matter how well balanced you think you are. And so it's also about switching into that mindset of, because why wouldn't you want to be stronger and more powerful and better able to walk through life and because it improves every area of your life. So the idea that it's weak to go is actually so backwards.
Right.
So that's the trauma. That's part of that's the trauma that we're speaking. Yeah.
Right. It's interesting. I was reading about depression and some of the signs, and it was talking about the feeling of helplessness and hopelessness, difficulty concentrating, difficulty sleeping, grief, and guilt. I started thinking,
ouch,
that's me.
Right.
I don't sleep at night.
Brad, you just listed a couple of things. I'm like, damn,
I don't concentrate.
I'm dealing with that right now. I'm like, is a brother depressed now?
Like, I may have depression.
But it's funny that you bring it up, and not in a funny way. But I'm saying, like, when you list off the things that describe depression, I'm like, damn, maybe that is me. And then sometimes I'm just in denial about it.
Right.
Or maybe I'm just not ready to face it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, damn, man, like, why do I got to put them labels on what is depressed? Because now I'm over here thinking like, damn,
it's like, ding.
Like, dang.
And it's funny because
you just described me in the whole book.
I had mentioned on the other show we had did in the series. And I was like, after I was reading, I started really thinking. I remember laying down and praying that God take my life. Mm-hmm. I remember that sometimes I didn't want to get up. I didn't want to go to work. I didn't want to do anything. I was like, I'm just tired. And then realized it was the stress and depression kicking in. And I think that for most of us, especially as men, it's harder for, I don't want to say it's harder because I only know from a man's standpoint, but it seemed like it's harder for us because of the things that we experience as men and growing up.
I get what you're saying, but you also got to look at how society, I mean, especially since we've been on the earth, that, for men, hey, suck it up and rub some dirt on it.
Right.
Can't let them see you sweat. Can't let them see you show weakness.
At least the American heroes. You think about the one they put up.
General
don't
Patton,
cry. John Wayne, any kind of cowboy in general. Yeah. How are they portrayed? Tough,
rugged.
They get shot. They just put a band on and they keep on going into battle. Nothing bothers them. Yeah. They don't talk about pain. They don't talk about being hurt. They just keep moving.
They say pain is weakness.
Pain is weakness.
Yeah.
Allison, you got that look on your face.
Yeah, I'm like, I said, yeah. I'll let the men finish talking, but I really want to get in there. So we also, it's how we socialize boys and girls, right?
Right.
Girls are allowed to talk about their feelings all they want, and boys aren't. And so, it's absolutely harder for men. Because you're not supposed to have emotions. You're not supposed, except for anger. We let men be
express
angry.
that well.
Yeah. Hey, you're a man. You can be angry all you want.
Right. You can slap somebody.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that it's slightly different for men of color. You guys,
we like to slap people.
You get a little bit more scrutinization of your anger, but in general, men, that's the only acceptable emotion for men to show. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what we've socialized men to believe. And so already you're not allowed to have emotions. You're not allowed to talk about anything because that's lady talk. Come on, get over it.
Right.
And so it's absolutely harder because we're all dealing with stigma around depression.
Right.
But you're also dealing with that added stigma of, well, you're supposed to be a man. And we have decided historically, what a man is. And how you're allowed to behave, and if you deviate from that, you're, I guess, a girly man. I'm not well versed in that, but like, so
such a girly
man.
Such a girly man.
Such a girly man.
Guys, I'm not good at gender norms. But yeah, so I would say it's absolutely harder for you guys, and that the stigma ends up getting doubled because you're not even supposed to talk to each other about it.
Yeah, that's another thing too. When you talk to another guy about that, they be looking like, bro, what's wrong with you?
Like, bro, you been watching Oprah?
Right. You know what I'm saying? Or that one, the famous one, I hate to say it, where they say, you gay?
Yeah.
They say that all the time.
No,
it's
like,
right. What I got to do with my sexual orientation? Because I want to express my feelings.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's what they equate it with.
Yeah.
But I want to bring up one more thing. Go ahead, Tiffany. Go ahead.
Piggyback on Allison too. I know for me, it was more or less like seeing my moms and seeing my aunts, and I've never saw them cry. So I felt like I need to just do it. And I remember
Stephon Julia.
Yeah, she would just cry every time.
She cried to drop her a dime.
You walked in the room.
Oh, come on, Wanda. Right. Cue the tears.
But I didn't see that. And I remember my mom saying, Like basically suck it up, shit or get off the pot. That's her.
Basically, yeah, that's my mama.
Shit or get off the pot.
Mm-hmm.
And so I felt like when I had these issues, something was wrong with me. Like, why am I not being tough? And then I have a girlfriend and we just think we're boys anyway, just in a girl's body. So, you know, she will always just be like, okay, suck it up. It's we okay. We just go ahead and drink and we self-medicate.
Right.
And especially in our culture, we self-medicate, whether it's drinking. Yes, I like to go out or I like to have a drink, but not to the point where I would use.
You look like an Alizé girl.
Yeah, no, I was a real drinker.
I call her Nemo.
Yeah, I was
look like an
that's her
Alizé.
nickname. We call her Nemo because he drink like a fish.
Drink it down.
I was. Gin was my thing, but
Gin?
I had to learn that.
Wow.
Kept it in her purse.
It's not it. You just
Bombay?
No, Hendrix.
Okay, Hendrix ain't bad. Hendrix ain't bad. That's actually good.
Listen.
Good gin. I don't do a lot of gin, but Hendrix and Bombay is about the only two I do.
No, Bombay's a little too rock gutty for me. But anyway, go ahead. What was the question for me? I just wanted to add that.
Put some hair on your chest.
So everybody was talking about this, but I want to talk about it from a different angle. And of course, the slap.
The slap
heard across America, across the world. But I think you look at it from a mental health standpoint.
Yeah, we almost about a week into it. Man, that thing has been talked about.
And talked about.
It was talked about so much. It made it onto sports shows.
Yes, it did.
Wow.
As in a topic to talk about.
Everybody's talking about it.
Like everybody, and Mom and them was talking about it.
But think about it from a mental health standpoint.
Oh, there's a lot of areas you
think
can go
about
in that mental space.
You think about Will Smith's mental health. You know, when he actually.
Well, hold on, stop right there.
Go ahead.
Because I might be the black sheep on feeling about this.
You are,
but I just have just observing everything. You know, if whatever Will and Jada got their little open relationship, cool. You know, but the fact that he was put in a situation where he has to deal with hearing about entanglements with his wife on the public thing, and I'm not saying that Will's angel. We don't know what he's been doing in this little open relationship, but he's managed to keep his little situations under wraps so far. So when you look at the situation where that man was looking like he was broken down because he has to hear his wife talk about other entanglements and situations. And then now you got this situation because he was laughing. He got that look.
Oh, is that what we doing?
Yeah, that's exactly
what we doing.
She gave him that look.
Is it right?
And then it was a different situation.
I heard your standpoint. I listened to your show, Allison. So I'm gonna let you speak. But I want to lay this out right quick. So you look at it from this standpoint.
Man, he looked like a man trying to save face, dog.
Some of what you said, you know, because you look at it from that stress, those are stressors that he had to deal with. You know, hearing it out in public like that. And some of the things you said on that red table, talking about how you don't satisfy me and stuff like that. That attacks your manhood.
And then you add on the social media pressure that goes on along with all that. Him sitting right there, listen to that.
Then you got to add on Chris Rock said stuff in the past.
Yeah.
You know, you got to add that into it. That's added stressors.
Yep.
And he knows his wife more than we know his wife.
Yeah.
So all she got to do is give a look, and you already know what that means. Whether or not they talked about how her alopecia affects her.
Man,
she
gave Will to go shut that shit down.
Well, I'm just saying, whatever. But you know what I'm saying, but you got to add all that into his mental. Now you got to look at Chris Rock's mental.
Oh man,
you know he's very vocal how
that's one
he
thing
was
that's
bullied
not
as a kid.
That's one thing that's not getting talked about this whole week.
Yeah, right.
Is his part of that situation of him dealing with that, and let's call it what it is. Because I think I'm not going to speak for everybody, but I know if I'm in a situation and something so public like that, somebody just slapped the shit out of me, I'm gonna feel some slight embarrassment. So
fight or flight.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. It'd have been a fight if Will would have slapped me. I ain't gonna lie.
So, but hold on.
But I'm saying I'm saying because Chris handled that in
right.
that situation, there's gonna be some mental stuff that he got to deal with.
Right. Before you get down that road, you got. Let me lay all this out. So you gotta look at him openly talking about how he was bullied.
Mm-hmm.
Right. him being a smaller man, Will being a bigger man.
Yep.
That could have brought back those images as a child.
Definitely could have triggered something.
You know? Then Will Smith also added a part in his book. He talked about how he saw his mother being hit by his dad, and he felt like that moment right there where he didn't do anything affected him. Affected every decision he made in his life.
So in that moment,
so now that moment could have came back to Will and made him react to that too.
Gotta protect my lady.
All those mental things are going on. We talking about mental health. You got to think about those things from a mental health perspective. Now, discuss.